Hey guys, let's talk about Web3 and the excitement about Web3 first. Before we get into all this other stuff, we have to have some foundation of all the things that we're talking about. In the first video, we talked about blockchain and what an NFT was. Now we are starting to talk about Web3 and where we're at right now. Currently, we're in Web 2. So Web 2 is a centralized place. This is where big, huge companies are making money off of things that you do. Whether it's advertising for your business, they're getting paid on the back end for that. Whether it's, we all know. All these apps, all these places selling your data. It's a centralized thing. Big companies own almost everything in media. That's Web 2. Web 1 was the dial-up. Do you remember that? I don't know if you remember that. I don't know how old you are, but Web 1 was just basically an encyclopedia when you went online. Web 2 is where they came out with apps. And now Web 3, which is the one that we're about to get into. Gosh, I wonder in 10 years if people are going to look back at this and be like, this is such an old classic video about talking about this. Because it hasn't completely happened all the way yet. Web 3 is a decentralized, which we talked about in the past video, where you can own your own content, make money off your own content. No big, huge corporation is making money off of you. Or say you want to buy a car. You know how you get like those Carfaxes that kind of tells you the history of the car? But, Uncle Bob down the street has a car for sale, got it from his cousin, sister, brother, and selling it for real cheap. Car looks like it runs good, but you don't know whether or not what the actual history is on it, period, right? And even if it was Carfax, what was reported, what wasn't, right? Eventually, cars will be on the blockchain. So you'll have complete transparency of understanding any kind of time it had an oil change, any time it needed to get fixed, anytime it was in a wreck. Any of that information will eventually be on the blockchain. Yes, so when you buy a car, there's complete transparency on everything and everything about that car. Here's another example about Web3, blockchain, things that are going to be happening. You know how you get on a plane or you're about to get on a plane, the flight is canceled. It takes you a few weeks. You have to do all these different kinds of things with customer service to try getting on the next flight, whatever. And your funds are all tied up and you might not have enough to just pay for a second ticket or an increased ticket to get on some other flight, right? Well, with the blockchain and airlines, once they get on this particular blockchain association, what will happen is that if you have a flight that is canceled, you could just turn around and have that money put right back because it will trigger that information right back on the blockchain that it was canceled, refund the money, have it come back so then you could purchase something and not have to go through customer service. Amazing. We all know how customer service is these days. A huge, huge, wonderful thing that's going to happen in the Web3 space is medical records. So medical records, no matter where you are, anywhere in the country, will be able to have access to your medical records. So if something were to happen to you and you were in Italy or in the US or in Australia or China, wherever you may be, that you'll have access to your medical records anywhere in the country thanks to the blockchain. So one of the biggest things and the most amazing things that are happening with Web3 is something called a smart contract. Now this is information that you're going to need for your NFTs. And this is information that is going to be associated with so many things on the blockchain. It's called a smart contract. So we're going to get into the smart contract right now. Okay, so I wrote down notes about the smart contract because I really want you guys to get as much information as possible. Because whether or not you're doing an NFT, whether or not you're just wanting questions and answers about Web3 space, I wrote some information down, okay? So now that we're about to talk about smart contracts, do you need one? How do I create one? What's the importance of a smart contract in Web3? Let's do this. So mainly my videos are related to NFTs, so most of this will be directed towards that. And again, it's the beginner's guide of information regarding it. Smart contracts are one of the most powerful features of blockchain technology and can be used for way more than just NFTs. But what's a smart contract does is this. Smart contracts is a digital contract were the terms of agreements between users in a set of code. A smart contract can be programmed to self-execute when a set of predefined conditions are fulfilled. Smart contracts exist as decentralized and distributed blockchain ledgers. Smart contracts can be programmed to trigger other smart contracts into action or create new events when they are created. Smart contracts can hold assets, NFTs, and cryptocurrency within them. Okay, that's a lot of information, but it's so important for you to just kind of have a little general background of smart contracts. I gotta say, when I first started getting into the NFT world and hearing the word smart contract, it was so confusing. It really was. It was so confusing. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to help you in this video about smart contracts. So one thing I was like, where do I find this? How do I get it? How do I put it into my NFT or whatever project you want to do? There's a few things. If you're going to do a project, like a lot of people, the biggest marketplace is OpenSea for NFTs. And there's a smart contract in there called the ERC 1155. So you already have one actually built in with its own code, so you don't have to worry about trying to make and have to do all this coding and all this other stuff. It's already like embedded into a platform like OpenSea. So you won't have to worry about that. Don't worry about a smart contract if you're just going to do on OpenSea and just use their contract. But if you are going to want to start your own site and minting your NFTs from your own site, you're going to probably, if you don't know coding, you're going to have to hire a developer. That's for sure. Or you can learn it yourself, Solidity, coding. There's some places that you can go to learn how to code your own contract. There's places to hire. Twitter Spaces is amazing if you're trying to find a developer for your smart contract. Get to know them. Be very, very careful though, and get to know whether or not you can trust somebody. The Web3 space in general is kind of a scary place where a lot of people are scamming, so be very wary of that. The research that you can do if you want to find a developer and do your own smart contract on your own website, or not even your own website, just per your NFT. Always with the research that you're going to do with that developer is see what projects they've done before, make sure they're successful. That's a good place to start with that. If you don't personally know a developer that you can trust, I would definitely start there. So let's get to this next part. You need to have a smart contract when doing your NFT, and the answer is yes. Yes, you do. So, and if NFTs are embedded within a smart contract when you mint, we will get into minting in the next video, okay? But let's learn about smart contracts first, because it's one of the big players in Web3 and why the NFT means what it means. This smart contract is code into the NFT that can access songs, physical assets, objects, events, gaming, streaming, a lot. And so inside of the contract itself, this is where artists will put utilities. As we talked about just a little bit in the first video, the smart contract is actually code, and inside that code you can put the utilities that you want to put in with that smart contract. So a smart contract can also give you voting rights called a DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization, and we'll talk about DAOs in another video as well. But yeah, you can make an NFT project and become a DAO. Anything that has to do with some certain voting rights will eventually become a DAO, and it's a huge umbrella of topics, but I'll just try to explain what I can. Smart contracts is an essential part of proof of ownership with your NFT and transfers ownership to the buyer. Smart contracts allow for passive royalty income with your NFT, and we'll talk about royalties here in a little bit as well. I want to add this little tidbit actually before I get into this next part, is that when it comes to smart contracts and you're setting up your royalty fees, that's one of the great things about NFTs, is that royalties come with your smart contract. Problem is that people don't really tell you this, is that your royalties don't go everywhere. You could sell on different platforms. It only is valid on the actual platform that you use. So if you use OpenSea.io, which is the largest marketplace for NFTs, secondary, third, fourth, fifth, whatever sales will be honored on there. But if it goes to another site like Foundation, Rarible, these are other platforms that you can sell your NFTs at, the royalty stays with the marketplace that you actually have your listings on, not other sites. So you won't always get the secondary, third, fourth royalties of NFTs if it goes to a different marketplace. So I just want you to know that. So try to, if you're going to stay on OpenSea, you're going to stay on Rarible, you're going to stay on Foundation, understand that secondary sales and third sales and so forth they stay with the marketplace. They don't stay with your NFT. Do you know Arizona is trying to pass the law for cryptocurrency to be used just like fiat? So fiat is, cash that we use on a daily basis that's extremely tradable, that we do every day. So instead of buying something with cash, you could buy it with cryptocurrency. If Arizona passes that law, I don't know where they're at with that yet. This is not even a plug. I just heard about this on Twitter, but there's a place called Renteez, Renteez, where you can now rent stuff with your cryptocurrency. They have rentals. I don't know if you guys are aware, but a house just recently sold in, I think it was Gulfport, Florida, as an NFT. Yes, real estate and rental units you can now purchase with cryptocurrency. Cut out the middleman. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But yes, houses, physical houses, are now being sold through cryptocurrency as NFTs. Once more smart contracts are associated in real estate in general, it will cut out a lot of middlemen in between there and speed up the process immensely. From buyer to seller, hey, I want to buy this, you have the contract, just like that. I mean, the transaction is that fast. If conditions are met, transactions are, and all the stuff is met in between there, then, just like that, they're paid. That will cut out appraisers, that will cut out brokers, that will cut out real estate agents. Well, I don't know if it will cut out real estate agents, but it will cut out a lot of the middle legal aspects of that. Now, mind you, you still are responsible for local government policies and procedures, but other than that, it's going to cut out a lot of time. It's going to be easy, it's trustless, transaction is clear, information is transparent, and that transaction is completed a lot faster, a lot easier. And so if you're a broker out there, if you are an appraiser out there, these are things that you need to be aware of, that once this starts getting implemented into the real estate market, not financial advice, but once this starts happening, you got to learn to shift with the times with whatever you need to do on that. Hey guys, make sure you like and subscribe to my videos. If it's helpful and it's helping anybody, let YouTube know. All you have to do is just like and subscribe below, and